What's up, guys? My name is Brianna Puckett.
And I'm Autumn Brazil.
And for our biogeochemical presentation, we chose to do the element carbon. And some of the reservoirs of carbon are sedimentary rocks and fossil fuel. And another very important information that we all need to know about carbon is stored in soil as organic carbon from the decomposition of living organisms, or as inorganic carbon from the weathering or terrestrial rock and minerals.
And this is some of the organisms involved, which is plants and animals. And we was asked how carbon is essential to organisms, and carbon is the main type of organic compounds. These organic compounds include carbohydrates, lipids, fats, proteins, and nucleic acids, which is essential for everyday function and life.
And this is the path of carbon, and I'll just break this down for you guys. And as we can see on this far side, that carbon is in the air, and it comes down, and it actually goes into the ocean as distillation. And it is there for the fish, and they use it as respiration. And it also, when the fish actually pass away and die, their bones and everything will go into the sedimentation. And there is still carbon. Just because the fish is no longer living and it cannot have respiration anymore, that does not mean that the carbon vanishes. It stays and it goes into the sedimentation, where it can be used as fossil fuel, which is a biomatrix organism that uses carbon. And fossil fuel is able to help fuel and help things going with human influence. And another thing is photosynthesis. And photosynthesis is used by both the fish and animals and humans. And they just break those down, and still using carbon, they break those down. And even as the fish decomposes, so does the animal. And they also go into the soil, and the carbon is still rich in that soil. And it goes up in soil respiration. And that is another one of the biomatrix organisms that is involved. And the soil respiration then goes up into combustion. And another thing is, just as the fish breathes and uses carbon in their respiration, the same way animals use respiration. And that carbon, again, goes into the air. And another way that carbon goes into the air is geological activities, which basically that involves things that happen in the earth. And one of them is volcanic eruptions. And that carbon is then shot up into the sky, just as any other type of earthly activity that happens like that. And again, once those all go into the sky, they come back down just as the beginning.
And this is the verses that talk about God as the sustainer of life, which is Colossians 1:17, and it says, "He is before all things, and in him all things are held together." And then we have John 1:3, "All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made."
Yeah, and so also these are the resources that we found to help us find all of this information about carbon, and to just really dig into what does carbon actually do and how is it essential to organisms. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you guys learned a little bit more about carbon today.